Welcome to Muscle Science for Women podcast. This is your host.
You're doing so great.
Trying to do it like so. I was trying to be you and like do so formally, and I just can't keep
such a great
face.
job. You did such a great job. That's Rachel. She's the best co-host, podcast introer in the game. And this over here is Ashleigh. I'm barely awake. So good luck,
I'm kind of barely awake too, but I mean, like I'm not gonna lie, I did have to have some extra caffeine before we got on this call because I had a basketball game till 9:30 last night, and my bedtime is like 8:30. So you know,
do you have a harder time sleeping when you do sports late at night? Yeah.
I'm taking the hit. Like every Tuesday, I know that like sleep is just gonna be rough because we have games every Tuesday night, and the last few weeks have been like set like 8:00 games, and then I don't get home until whatever. I have to shower, and then of course I have to have some protein ice cream afterwards because like obviously, and then my body's like, hey, whoa, like we need a few hours to calm down, and that's a reason too, like why I don't like recommending working out past a certain hour for most people. But there's nothing really I can do with the basketball thing because
that's when it is.
Yeah. So
I've been lower on the coffee the last couple of days because I got my teeth professionally whitened a couple of days ago because I just felt like it because, you know,
that's cool.
I don't know. I felt like it. And I drink a lot of coffee and I was like, maybe this will make me just feel refreshed. And I went to like a dentist's office where they do the whole, like put the stuff on your teeth and you have to have that like horrible thing in your mouth that keeps your mouth open for like an hour. And it was very uncomfortable and very unpleasant, but see, everybody look at my pearly whites.
They look nice.
They're fresh. They look good. I mean, you know, it's not like, they're not like, I think a lot of people with money or famous people or get like fake teeth now that look good on TV, but like in real life, it's like no one has teeth that look like that. Those are obviously way too perfect to be human teeth. And mine are still human teeth. They're just, you know, whiter human teeth. I feel good about it, but I couldn't like, you know, I'm not supposed to have foods that are like dyed. Like you can't just like go home and like eat tomato sauce and blackberries and coffee and stuff. I'm pretty sure squash would be fine, but you wouldn't be able to do it.
Kabocha squash like stains my teeth.
Really?
Huh. Yeah. If I don't like brush them every day, which I do, but I notice sometimes like because it's like super orange. Sometimes it's like even more deep orange than a sweet potato. And that can definitely stay on there.
You might want to get your teeth professionally whitened someday to get that kabocha off. Who knows? I don't know. Anyway, but I'm happy with the results.
Just save it for later.
It was a nice treat. But yeah, I've been a little bit lower on the caffeine the last couple days. And it was just, as I was telling you offline, just like rotating sickness in my family. It's like the classic when you have a toddler that goes to preschool and just everyone is ill. And I just have been dealing with that. So I feel kind of crappy. But you know, what else is new? You just got to take care of yourself. But I really have been practicing what I preach. I've taken on a couple new clients in the last couple of weeks. And, you know, this very common, it's so funny because so many, I think similar with your clients too, like so many of them either listened to the podcast or found us through the podcast or whatever. And whenever I'm talking to them, they're often bringing up like, I know you said in the podcast, blah, 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 but I did something else or whatever. Like they're always like, they know what I'm going to say because they've listened to us talk so much. And, you know, one of these things is about if you're busy and you're inconsistent and you've got all kinds of stuff going on and you're trying to get fit and you have this super stressful lifestyle, I'm always like, chill out and walk more, move your body more. If you're walking 2,000 steps a day, I think you should walk before you should try to do a workout in a lot of cases. Like, just try to move your body more. Absolutely. And I've been really like taking this to heart the last like week or two because I just have been like so low energy and just feel so crappy. And I know when I'm sick enough that I'm like, I really shouldn't be moving. I should be sleeping. But I know the threshold of like a nice little walk is going to help me, you know, and it's really all I should be doing. I don't think I should be like pushing it too hard. So I've really been like forcing myself to go out and like take some nice little walks and it's been nice. But that's
it's funny you say that. Yeah, no, it's funny you say that because yesterday in my Flex Fam call, we have like weekly Zoom calls, and one of our newer members who joined like a few weeks ago, we do like wins and struggles. I'm like share some wins and struggles, and one of her wins was that she had kind of like this epiphany, just being in the program for a few weeks and realizing that, like, from the beginning, I told her, I was like, listen, she wants to do all the things. She wants to do the training program in the flex band. She wanted to do like her continued group training things, cardio, all the things. And I was like, just trust yourself, trust the program, just follow the lifting and walk. And like take a step back from everything extra. And she was like, in just 3 weeks, she has had a complete epiphany shift from like the last few years of just feeling like she needs to do more and more and more to get better results. And she was like, I feel so much better from like just an energy standpoint, a mental standpoint, like just overall, her body's just like let go of so much stress because she's like trying to not do as much as she was. And she's already seen great results within just a few weeks. And I was like, when I had that epiphany a few years ago, it was like complete game changer. So again, it's just knowing when to take a step back, knowing how beneficial just literally walking outside in the sun can be, lifting heavy shit and not doing like hours of cardio and HIIT training and all the things we always talk about. There's a huge benefit from that. So just wanted to share because it takes a long time. It takes a lot to like let go of that, you know, like it doesn't just happen overnight. And even with this member, she's like, it's been a few weeks and everything is not going to be like 100% 180. But for me, it took probably like a full year to really realize once I started to see like the benefits and the results. So anyway, anybody who's listening and you're like feeling like you always need to go and do more, take a step back and think about like, okay, well, has that been working for you in the past? Because if it hasn't, then there's a reason for it. Anyway, that's my 100%. Whatever soap bop, is that what you call it? Soap bop. I don't know, like when you say something and
it's called getting on your soapbox. Soap bop? Box.
I don't know.
The bop. You're too young or something. I don't know how.
I don't know. Box.
Okay.
Whatever.
We're just
Move
gonna
on.
ease right past that. Anyway, it's what we say all day, every day to everybody. And interestingly enough, segue. Last week, I did something that I haven't done in a really long time, which is I was asked to participate in this sort of corporate wellness summit for, interestingly enough, a law firm in Philadelphia. It was a colleague of mine that is so weird, but I had worked with her, not in the fitness world, in the wellness world in Bermuda years ago when I lived there. And she's now doing this like public speaking, wellness speaking for corporations and stuff. And she reached out to me to talk to this firm about it was very, very vague. She's like, I'm going to have a fitness person and a nutrition person, and you're going to be the fitness person. So what do you think? And I had like 3 days to like come up with something. But of course, based on our work, I already kind of have some basic things sort of lined up. And I ended up really kind of talking about the biggest obstacles or pitfalls that I see in busy type A, high performing professionals that stall or, impede their progress to whatever their fitness and health goals are, and how to fix it. And I kind of set it up in this way of like, here's the problem, here's how to fix it. Because if I just went into this group of people who are busy and stressed and a lot of them probably not fitness minded people, it was just like, hello, you should recover properly after you work out and you should go for walks. They're like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, I'm bored by this. But if I say like, hey, here are the things that I know a lot of you are probably doing, thinking you're helping, you're actually not, it's wasting your time and you're a busy person. So let's reframe it and figure out how to be more effective. And I mean, I talked a lot about like one of the big pitfalls is prioritizing hard workouts over effective ones, right? Like this concept we've talked about a million times about if you're not sweating and dying and sore and your heart rate's up for an hour, you didn't get a good workout. Like, so talking about the difference between perceived difficulty and what is actually an effective and efficient workout. And I talked about folks not prioritizing daily movement and how much more that moves the needle for your health and your body composition than your 1 hour workout 3 days a week. And I talked about recovery and some stuff like that. So it was really cool. And it was really nice to just get out of, there's nothing wrong. I love our community, but it's nice to talk to some people who are different and outside of the community for once, because I am kind of used to speaking to people who I think to a certain degree already get it and are already bought in. And so talking to a completely different group of people and having them kind of be interested and ask questions, I thought it was really cool. So it was a fun opportunity, but the nutrition speaker came on afterwards, and I'm going to be diplomatic here because I don't know, maybe she listens to this podcast. I don't know. But it was funny because when the moderator was introducing me, it was like, yeah, Ashleigh, Muscle Science for Women, blah, blah. She wrote these 2 cookbooks, and the titles of them it's very obvious what my stance is for nutrition.
Yeah.
And as you can probably guess, because she was a popular sort of mainstream nutrition person, she was very plant-based. And so I had to kind of sit through her talk where, she was saying like green vegetables are the most nutrient dense foods on the planet. And red meat is on her. Exactly. That's the face I made. And then, she had her like nutrition pyramid, and red meat was at the very top of the pyramid, right underneath like fries and Coke and wine and stuff. And so she was very much, she wasn't, I have to give credit where it's due. She wasn't a vegan. She did talk about protein. She definitely stressed like fish and lean meat and also non-animal protein sources. But if I could at least take a couple like good things away from it, she's like, whole foods, unprocessed foods, drink your water, whatever. But she's talking about spirulina tablets and stuff. And I'm like, guys, like, you don't have to make it this complicated. And so it's like kind of steamrolled this whole like rant that I put in my newsletter this week. And I really don't do newsletters as much as I should, but I just like, I felt compelled to like really actually give my sassy opinion for once, because I feel like I'm generally too diplomatic online, because I don't care to add to arguments that are already, there's too many voices anyway. But I just feel like the conversation around nutrition right now in mainstream media is so lazy. It's so lazy. Like, mainstream media has decided that plant-based eating is good and everything else should be either minimized or taken out altogether. And so, I'm looking at these articles and it's like, how to get more protein in your diet. And they talk to a vegan nutritionist. And these articles talking about like, is the carnivore diet stupid or not? And they talk about the Liver King, and it's like, you're not actually trying to see the nuance or the reality of the situation. All you're doing is cherry picking the most like clickbait top, Google search people and things, and then just writing an article based on it. Like, talk to real people. Yeah, it's just lazy. And so anyway, I was just like, I'm not surprised. And this person, I'm sure she's lovely, and I'm sure she helps people with their health. Like, there's a lot of things she said that were good, but I'm just like, I'm not even a little bit surprised that you, in your very brief time talking about health to a bunch of busy people, instead of talking about whole foods and protein, she didn't mention protein being important once. It was all vegetables. It was all green juice and vegetables and spirulina tablets. I'm like, these people have time to go buy spirulina tablets? Like, have them eat something nutrient dense, have a steak. Anyway, so obviously fired up about it still, but I guess what it comes down to, and what I wrote in my little rant, is like, at the end of the day, if this stuff is going to be lazy, you have your own little tiny corner of the world and influence, even if it's just your close friends or your family, and you just have to like do your own research, your own due diligence, your own personal experience, and live the best, healthiest life you can, however that looks for you, and help the people around you when they ask for it, and try not to get too pissed off by how dysfunctional the world is. The end.
I have nothing to add. I agree.
So
yeah, it's lazy. That's the best word for it. Lazy, uninformed.
Yep. And not willing
clickbaity.
Not willing to be more informed. Like, I know, like, of course I'm reading this and being kind of petty and like, why won't they talk to someone like me? Because I'm not popular enough. I'm not a big enough name. I don't do ridiculous things on the internet, so they don't see me. And it's not even just me. Like, I can name a half dozen colleagues who, some are much more popular than me, some less so, but more educated and would help a lot of people. But they're not the Liver King, so they aren't on your radar. It's stupid. Anyway.
Yeah.
All right. So that's that. What's going on with you besides eating one one Starburst to fuel a basketball game. You weirdo.
Well, actually, it was one Starburst to fuel my leg day. And then
you had
5
the
hours
other
later,
exactly.
I was sitting there and I had it in my bag because I used the same bag, the gym bag. I just transferred over my basketball stuff. And I was like, I need a little something to wake up. And there was an extra Starburst there. So it just worked out perfectly.
I think
and then, of course, what?
I think you can agree that like that 20 calorie or whatever Starburst, like that's not actually fueling anything. It's like, it's like morale boost. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah. For 100%. Okay. And maybe just like a little bit of a, because you boost, do have the sugar in your glucose in your mouth that, triggers your brain a little bit, both mentally and, whatever. So yeah, I was just kind of sitting there. I was like, oh, I thought it was funny. So that's why I took a picture.
I love our interaction where I'm just like, so you're a psycho. I know you didn't eat that entire 2 Starburst package. You're like, how did you know? I'm like, because I know that you're a psycho.
It's funny because you knew that there was like, it was 2 and I posted the 2 package, the 2.
100% new.
What's going on with me? So since we last recorded, I think I had just finished kind of like my miniature cut.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Not to be confused with a mini cut.
Yeah. Not to be confused. After that, I just kind of went back to maintenance. And I've kept my movement. So speaking of walking, I've kept my movement very, very high. And I've just kind of been leaning a bit more on like hunger signals, all that stuff. And I've been eating like a lot. And for the last 3 to 4 weeks, pretty much just maintained since I'm a little bit up on the scale, but that's just like water weight and more food in my gut, all that stuff. But I've been feeling good. I'm just really like right now, just leaning into the energy flux, like high energy flux, meaning high movement, meaning walking outside. Like my steps are averaging like 14, 15K a day. Like yesterday I ended with 20K, but that was obviously because of basketball.
Right.
So with my higher movement, I want to make sure that I'm fueling myself appropriately, especially with not being in a deficit anymore and trying to, get that all balanced out. So that's pretty much what I've been doing. Just kind of hanging out.
And the digestion's good. And that part of it has been, good.
Yeah. I've been, one thing actually is a little bit newer. I've just been experimenting with kind of still adding more variety, right? To like lunches and dinners. Breakfast has kind of been the same. Like I have like a yogurt bowl with frozen berries and some nuts and seeds and then like the Element chocolate. I just like really enjoy that right now. And it keeps me full for a while. And it's a good pre-workout because it digests easily. But I've taken out eggs and egg whites for a little while. And that's mainly just because since I'm not eating that for breakfast anymore, for lunch, I'm now having like fish or chicken or beef with a veggie and a starch or squash. I'm like blanking on the word squash. How can I blank on that
favorite word?
Yeah. And then of course, because it's like becoming fall, I've been doing like more stews and soups for dinner, which I really enjoy with more squash in it. So yeah, I took eggs out just kind of like inadvertently, just want to like switch things up. So I'm curious taking those out for a little while and bringing them back in if I notice anything different. I haven't necessarily noticed anything like maybe a little bit better digestion. And that could just be because I ate eggs so much for so long. And it's one of those things where like when you don't add diversity into your diet with certain things that are prone to be a little bit more sensitive for some people, like eggs are a known sensitivity for people. So or like dairy, for example. So I'm just curious to see like when I bring those back in, if I notice anything different. So I will keep everyone posted.
Yeah. I'm interested to hear about that. And I'm sort of unwilling to do that myself because eggs are I love them so much. And they're such a
they're
staple.
So easy.
Like, they're so easy. It would make me so sad. Like if I stopped for a week and like, I don't know, just my health somehow skyrocketed, I would be so depressed because I love eggs so much. But I mean, I think it is good to your point, even stuff that you do tolerate well. I think it's still good to kind of like cycle in and out, like you said, for diversity purposes and variety purposes and stuff. So
Actually, speaking of eggs, I just want to mention this because I think this is something too for everybody to know. I had posted this on my Instagram like last week, just as like an FYI. And it was something like, I forget exactly what I said, but it was like, if you think 2 eggs for breakfast is enough protein, like you're highly mistaken. And a lot of people don't realize like 2 eggs is only 12 grams of protein. There's in one average egg, there's 5 grams of fat and 6 grams of protein. So if you're only having 2 eggs and like you're having that with like a piece of toast, that's not enough protein for breakfast. So you need to add some meat or some egg whites or some extra protein in there, or, have 4 eggs. Like if if you can tolerate 4 eggs, that's going to be 6 times 4 is 24. 24 grams of protein. I'm like, oh my God. And that's good. That's a good amount. But I always we always recommend at least, like, I would say at least 30 grams of protein minimum, especially for breakfast, like to start your day. Every single person in my eyes should be having like a minimum 30 grams of protein. So yeah, just something to think about, because I think a lot of people think, oh, eggs are high in protein, but it's relative, really. Right?
Yeah.
So
yeah. And you can just add like little bits here and there. Like I've been like mixing just a little bit, even like a quarter scoop of protein powder into my coffee, just to make it like a little like mocha or something. And it's like, there you go. You topped it up. Like it doesn't have to be, it's like little tweaks here and there can make a big difference. 100%. It's funny because with my not so many, but subtle cut.
Yeah. Give us a little update
that I'm going like the opposite route, because I'm really trying to rely on managing my food because my movement has been so poor. And I mean, there's a tiny benefit there of like, I'm not exercising or moving as much, so I'm not as hungry, and I've been sick, so I'm not as hungry. With that said, I always have a healthy appetite. So I mean, I'm still eating and I'm still eating enough, but at least it's not like I'm trying to work out 2 hours a day and eat a deficit, right? That's not happening. But I'm kind of just hoping that like at some point things are going to calm down enough that I can start turning up the movement. And that will be like the second lever that I push, because right now I just like, I'm not, the last couple of days I've forced myself to go walk. I've been around 10,000 steps, which I'm very happy with. For me, that's very good. I'm averaging like 2 workouts a week, which is it doesn't make me happy, but it is what it is. Like I would be happier with a solid 3 to 4. That would be perfect. That would be really nice and good for me, but it's not happening right now. So I've really been just having to pay more attention to the food and trying to sleep, because I know I'm not feeling well. So I'm trying to sleep more and really prioritizing that and just moving as much as I can throughout the day. And it's working, like I feel good about it. I've lost, like I said, it's been, I think 6 weeks, and I've lost like maybe 5 pounds. Like that's pretty good. I, want to lose maybe another 5 total. And I want to do it in a way that is, again, sustainable. This really has not been very painful for me food wise. And so I'm just going to it's just every couple of weeks, like the check-in with the coach. This is why coaches are so important. It's just sort of this like renewal of like, I've invested in this. I have a purpose. Things are going well. You can take stock of what worked, what didn't, and just like sort of like a renewal. Like this week, I'm like, okay, I don't think I have COVID. Pretty sure there's no COVID in my family. My kid is finally sort of better and like not having hysterics every time I drop him off to preschool. Like maybe this week I will average 10,000 steps a day. Maybe this week I'll get to the gym more than twice. I'm just going to try. But the things you can control, you can control what goes into your mouth. You can generally, hopefully sort of control like trying to get good sleep. And that's what I've been doing. So again, it's not
I have a question.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about getting a walking pad for under your desk?
100%. 100%. Okay. Alex and I have this conversation frequently. The only reason I don't currently have one is because like when I lived in the city, no problem, much easier to walk. We've talked about this before. I'm not going for night walks on a country road in the dark. Yeah. It's not happening.
And especially when it gets cold.
Well, I mean, even the cold, I don't mind. It's just, I don't want to walk in the dark in the woods. Yeah. So, but historically I get a lot of my walking hours in like after Magnus goes to sleep. So anyway, so when I lived in the city, steps were no problem. Here, surprisingly enough, I like move out to the ocean. I actually am getting less steps, but The only reason I didn't get one is because in the summer, I was like, I don't want to make this, like, I'm going to force myself. It's beautiful. It's sunny. I live by the ocean. I'm going to get my steps outside. But when the weather turns, I'm like, no brainer, because 100% that's going to be beneficial to me. If I have to work a couple hours a day, walking slowly while I'm doing it, such a smart idea. And you can get these for like a couple $100. It's not really that expensive, right?
Yeah.
So
why don't you have one?
Well, again, it's just like the weather literally, like, it's still kind of not, like, we're literally in the process of like, we should do this before the weather gets crappy. So yes, it's a really good suggestion. And I'm definitely going to do it, because it makes me sad to not walk a lot. Like you, I like to walk a lot. I like to do that. And I haven't been cutting it lately. So that will help me, I think, big time through the winter.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's just something too, that, especially since you mentioned just like the timing and life and all that stuff. I've had lots of clients who have gotten walking pads in the past few months, and like they are so happy. They're like, I don't know why I didn't invest in this sooner, because again, they're only a few $100. You know, they're so popular, especially since COVID happened. And it can just be so easy to like put it on slow, and like whether you're watching TV or just like working on your laptop, things like that. I think it's super beneficial. Or if you have a garage gym, you can get a treadmill. You can just get one of those, like, or even just like a piece of wood where you bring your laptop down and you're just like doing work. I think it can be super beneficial, especially if you live somewhere like you live, especially if it's getting colder and stuff. I personally don't have a walking pad. I've thought about it, but I'm like, I don't need it because of where I live. And because, again, like you said, like during the summer, especially, like I want to get outside 100%. If I could choose between walking inside and outside, 100%, I recommend everybody walk outside, because there's nothing you can compare, like just direct sunlight. Like that is so beneficial as part of it.
Fresh air.
And fresh air. Yeah. I mean, you have a little bit fresher air than I do, but
relatively speaking. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's definitely the reason why I haven't gotten one. But I think it can be such a great investment. And the technology nowadays it's like a no-brainer. So
yeah, I love it. So so I mean, I will keep you posted. Like, again, I'm doing this through the end of the year, so I've still got a solid 2.5 months. And I know that, you know, this stuff can happen progressively. So like, if I get to mid-November and I'm like, this, you know, I want to turn it up, I can turn it up. Like food wise, I can, you know, I'll get my walking pad and I'll be able to up those steps. Like there are always like levers you can pull. And now what I've been doing has been relatively effective and really not overly stressful to my body or my mind. So it's great. And when that progress kind of slows down, then we'll kick something else up. But
oh, sorry. No, I'm just going to add one more thing here too, just as we're talking about, you know, like being in a deficit and things like that, especially for women. I think that people don't realize, like, there are actually like several studies and several anecdotal evidence that shows that women, because we are smaller than men, when we go into a deficit, our calories have to be lower, right? And so it's all relative, right? So the amount of calories you have to drop, especially if you're a smaller, like petite woman, the levers that you pull, walking and moving and expending energy from that standpoint, I think is so important, even more so for women who are like smaller, more petite, because you just don't have the capacity to continue to pull calories unless you want to be eating literally 1,000 calories a day. So we have to use that lever of the extra movement and be smart about it, in the sense of like not going and doing, you know, tons of HIIT like we always talk about, or like running, you know, miles and miles and miles. Like, be smart about that. And walking is just so freaking underrated. Like, I can't even,
I know.
Like, even when we were talking about in the beginning, to bring this full circle with the people that you were talking to, when someone asks, sometimes like this past weekend, I was with a few people who weren't really like health focused, health related, but then they you know, they asked me a few questions. I was like, listen, the two things I tell everybody, if you're not like willing to track your food, if you're not willing to like do the things, and you haven't done this in the past, eat your body weight in protein and go walk. Literally those two things. Like, it's just so, sorry, I'm like, I'm heated now, because if you can do those
we both got
things,
fired up this episode. This is great.
Like everybody's like so focused on like, let's do these I don't know, like all this sexy, we talk about this all the time. I'm like, listen, bro, chick, girl, whatever.
Listen, girl, bro.
You are, girl, bro.
Go for a walk.
Go for a freaking walk and eat some damn protein and do that for months on end. And I promise you.
Yes.
You'll see results.
Yes. But people
want
something that feels hard and they get immediate results in 3 weeks. I brought on a new client today and I said, none of this is new. I said, do you want to do it fast or do you want to do it right? Do you want to do it in a way that sticks around and feels good and becomes your life? Or do you want to just lose 10 pounds in 6 weeks and then come right back to me in 6 months because you know what I mean? Like I think that, and like this ends up being this is going to be our rant episode. We have one every month. Like the more people get used to and can accept the fact that what really makes you healthy and fit is boring, monotonous, tedious life stuff that you just have to do consistently for the rest of your life. You can spice it up. Have a goal a couple times a year. Add a new workout plan, learn a new sport, do your rec stuff, like join a basketball team, do all kinds of stuff that's fun and fulfilling and motivational. But the stuff that's really going to move the needle and make you healthy is boring and tedious, and you are not going to be motivated to do it. You have to do it anyway. That's what successful people do. You do it because it's what you're supposed to do, not because you're motivated or because it's sexy or fun. You do it because you're supposed to.
Amen.
The end. Bye.
Bye.
I mean, that's it. That's it, right?
No,
like, is
100%.
there? Okay. All right. Do you want to answer?
This episode, I just realized I'm wearing a t-shirt that has a truck on it.
I actually wanted to ask you about that.
Are you like, what is that?
I did notice you were wearing a shirt with a vehicle on it.
It's Post Malone's shirt. So we went to the Post Malone concert, and it's the shirt that we got.
When did this happen? Did I know you went? I think a couple weeks ago or something.
It was in August. So like a few months ago, yeah.
I like Post Malone. I just read a big GQ article about him that his name was literally from like a rap name generator on the internet because his last name's Post, right? And he like put his name into like a rap name generator and it just said Post Malone. He's like, okay. And now that's like we should do that. We should get our rap names. Let's do it. Oh my
God. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, we're doing that. Keep you posted. Right. Do you want to, we're kind of at the time that we said for this episode. Do you want to talk about the firefighter one or do you want to throw that in another episode?
Let's do it in the next one.
Okay, good. We've expended enough energy
with my eyes.
Hey. We're winking in case.
I looked over at Lilo and I wish you could see, like, maybe I can do this real quick. Like,
you guys really should be watching on YouTube is the point.
She's laying down.
God, this girl chills so hard.
Cottage cheese that I gave her. Like, I let her lick the rest of the cottage cheese container when I'm finished.
And she's just passed out now.
And she's just knocked out with the cottage cheese container. Like,
I love that for her. Yep. I love it for you, Lilo. You're living your best life as always.
Oh no. Now I'm all messed up. Oh, cool. Well,
and she's gone. Oh, and she's back. Whenever you go, we talk about you.
Maybe we should end this episode.
Yeah, I think we're done. We're done before I start gossiping about you while you're turned off. Okay. All right. Thanks everybody for listening as usual. This was a fun one for us. We got to really vent and it was cathartic, I think, for both of us. If you have any questions, feedback, topic ideas, anything you want us to address on the podcast, you know where to go. Email us at musclescience4women, the number 4 @gmail.com. We read your emails. Do it. And that's it. You know, go for a walk, eat protein, don't do stupid shit. Have a good day.
Don't be insane. Goodbye.
Bye.